Hey guys, welcome to another project, and this is called India. And this is quite a fun and cute bag. Now the lining is not pleated, it's kind of plain inside. It's got a rounded base and I have used a recycled denim. So let's go ahead and get started with this project.
I don't need anything else, because as long as I align it and just make sure they're the same size, then I'm going to be fine. My stitch length is number 3, and I'm holding the leather patch firmly onto the fabric. I'm just going to edge my foot to the edge of the leather patch, and we're just going to go and sew a normal stitch. It's very easy to sew on this leather patch because it's not real leather, this is just a fake leather. Here is the top of the bag that we have sewn. I have sewn in all the 4 of the leather patches. So we're going to go into the next step. Before we go ahead, I just want to show you that I have prepared my handle. This is exactly like how we prepared the handles in Chila. You fold, there's the fabric cut out for the handle, fold it into half, make a crease mark, and then fold it into half again, so the 2 edges meet in the center. That way you have a really neat folded edge. And this is a straight piece because my fabric is a little bit flimsy. I passed it through a bias binding maker. Even though it's not perfectly kind of straight, it's still okay because 2 sides are folded. So we're going to place it like so and sew on either edge. So that's what will make this handle. So I'm going to keep this one aside. So that's the top half of your bag ready. Now we need to go and join the 2 side seams. When I go to the sewing machine, we're going to do all of the job together. This is the bottom base, this is the flap. We don't need them right away, so I'm going to keep this one aside. So we're going to go and sew in the sewing machine in a minute. Before we do that, this is the bottom half of your bag. So right side of the fabric, wrong side of the fabric. I'm going to place it like so and do a half an inch stitch, starting and finishing with a back stitch. Once we have done that, we're going to open it like that and place this trim right in the center. You can put it slightly higher, slightly lower, but I'm going to follow these lines I have on the fabric and just follow like so and put it all around the back. I have just done this join here off camera, and we are going to open the seams, because before we attach the top decorative panel, it's very important that it sits flat. So we're just gonna open the seams, and then when we go to the sewing machine, we've got a lot of sewing to finish. So now I'm going to place my trim like so, and just go on and sew all the way through. When we go to the sewing machine, we're going to finish this and finish on either side of the denim panel as well. Okay, we're sewing the side of the top half of the bag. So there is your leather patch. So we place them together like so, and just sew a half an inch stitch, starting and finishing with a back stitch. Do the same on the other side as well. We have just sewn in the side seam, and I have just given a quick press so the seams kind of open properly. But this won't stay flat because it's denim and it's going to come back into position. So I would go and from the top edge the edge of the foot to the center seam and go and do a top stitch on both the sides. That way it will kind of hold it flat and gives you a really kind of flat look on the side seam. Just turn around and sew. Then we're going to again edge the foot to the center of the seam. So now you can see that is really flat, and you see it on the other side. Now there's no way this seam will go back into position, so it kind of gives you the flat look. So now we're going to go and do an edge stitch, sewing the decorative trim to the center panel of the bag. When we come to the end, we're going to turn over and sew to the entire length on the other side as well. The decorative trim is sewn in, and we need to close the other end of this panel. So go and match it like so, and just make sure the starting point and the ending point is the same. And then we're going to place it and then go and sew a half an inch stitch, starting and finishing with a back stitch. We've sewn in this center seam because this we had done earlier in the decorative patch is on top of it. So now we need to open the seam so this kind of lays flat. When you come to your trim, just make sure the iron heat that you have is the right one, otherwise you may burn it if it's polyester or nylon. You may burn it if it's polyester or nylon. Okay? So now we need to turn this over, and these are the two side seams we've joined. Fold it into half like so and make a notch mark. Same way, we make a notch mark at the bottom as well. Now we take the top panel. Again, you've got your side seam. We've already made a notch mark at the top. We're going to fold it like so and make a center notch mark at the bottom of the top panel. You need to do it this way as well because denim doesn't cut through many layers sometimes. So that's how it looks. Okay, if you notice, I have placed the string a little bit off center. It's not right middle in the center. It's a little bit towards the top, simply because when this is going to fold, we're going to lose a little bit of this to the bottom base. That way this will still appear in the center. It's entirely up to you, it's personal choice. If you put it in the center, that will appear to be a little bit more towards the bottom area. Okay, so now we're going to, let me position it right. Center notch mark, center notch mark, center notch mark, both of them are matching. So we're going to lift this over like that and match the notch to notch. And place a pin. Same way, we're going to match the notch at the bottom and place a pin. And now we come to the side and match the side seam to side seam, and you're going to place a pin. Same way, side seam to side seam, and you place a pin. So it's almost like attaching a part of your skirt, bottom of your skirt, to the top waistband or the basque hip line. So now we need to go and make tiny pleats like that and pin, so it kind of distributed evenly. One of the things that you can do, this is called divide and notch method. This is called divide and notch method. So basically, just, can you see we have pinned here and we have pinned here, and then you've got a smaller area of fabric, you've got a longer area you've got a small area, and then this is a really long area. So we bring the pen to pen, and then you make a little notch, and you make a little notch. And now bring these notches together and pin it again. Okay? That makes it a smaller area. Now we're going to divide this, bring the pen to pen, and notch and notch, and bring the two notches together. So like this, every area will start getting smaller and smaller, and one more, and that will give you a tiny pleat in the center. So let me just go ahead and do one more, and that gives you a tiny pleat like that. So now this we can't divide any longer. So in the center we're going to make this into a tiny pleat. And when you've done all around, you will see that your pleating will sit perfectly and they're evenly distributed all around the area of your bag. This is a little time consuming, but this is the only way you're going to learn, because all these little techniques, all these techniques I'm showing you, it's all done, all these techniques I'm showing you, I have come up with these with trial and error, trying to make it easy for beginners to learn. You know, with not trying to make it easier for beginners to learn, simply because all these techniques that I have come up with, these are trial and error methods that I have come up with after a long time of trying, after trying hard for a long time. Now, this is probably the easiest you can get to when it comes to pleating, because basically when you sew a skirt or a waistband or even a cuff around your sleeve, you will have a shorter amount of cuff and then you have a longer piece of fabric. So basically you need to reduce the fabric into the circle that you need, and this is the best way to do it. This is called divide, notch and pin. Okay, so let me go ahead and do the rest of it, and then we go to the sewing machine and pleat this up. I have finished pinning all around, and there seems to be hundreds and thousands of pins, but don't worry. Just remember, when you pin it from the right hand side to the left hand side, because this is how we're going to go and sew. It will be easy to take the pins off as we go along. So now we're going to start off anywhere, because it doesn't matter where you start, and every gap in between we're just going to turn it into a tiny pleat and sew. Okay, we're going to start off somewhere in the middle, and let me just position myself along one pleat, and then as I go along we're going to take every pin off. Sewing becomes very easy once you have prepared your fabric and you've pinned it, because some people try to pleat it as you go along, which makes it very difficult for beginners, because you don't know how much to pleat. You might take a little bit more, you might take a little bit less, and then it ends up being like you have to unpick and then redo it again, frustrate it, and you just give up the project. When you come to the starting point, sew over a little extra, and finish with the back stitch. When you open this up, can you see it's neatly pleated all around? This is almost looking like a skirt. If you were doing a skirt project, this is how you would pleat it for the tiny pleats. This is how you would pleat for tiny pleats. Okay, let's go on to the next step now. We are going to take the bottom piece, and now we are going to place one part, which is the bottom is not, remember, the bottom is not notched up all around. We only have 2 side seams and 2 center notches. So go and match the center notch to the center of the bottom base fabric and place a pin. We're going to lift this over like so, and then bring the other side, the center to center, and place a pin. And then we're going to bring the side seam to side seam. Make sure open the seam here. We've already ironed it, so we're just going to do that and place a pin. And then again, the other side seam the same way. We're going to place a pin. And then go back and do exactly the same how we did here. So now we're going to go and again follow the divide and notch method and try to pleat it all around here. Now the only difference is this is not a straight piece, it's a rounded piece. If you don't get it perfect, even if you get it like 90% right, it would be great. When you divide a notch, just make sure, just don't go like so, because you've got this bendy corner here, because that's going to be, when you measure it, it's going to be longer than the straight one. So the way you have to measure it is like that. Then you get your center. Once you get that right, the rest is easy. Once you make the first one, you could even make bigger plates around here. So let me go ahead, divide a notch and then pin all around. Then we go to the sewing machine to sew the bottom base to the back. That's how it looks when I've finished pinning all around the bottom of the bag. So let's go to the sewing machine and sew long, sewing the pleats.